So today I'm going to take you through the first week at Pomathorn Station. We're going to cover everything that happened after I got the keys, what I started with, and the decisions I made before I knew what the problems really were. Before I knew how much work this property really needed. At the time, I thought I was doing a light strip out. I wasn't. By the end of that first week, there was no going back. Hi everyone, my name's Ian. In the fall of 2025, I purchased a house at an auction in Scotland. The house was empty for over 3 years, so it's slowly eaten itself away. I've never renovated a property before. I'm not completely clueless, but I do have a lot to learn. I'm also not doing this all alone. I've dragged my partner and all my family into this project. If you like what's going on, hit like, consider subscribing, and watch it all unfold. Alright, let's jump in. The first thing that hit you when you walked in was the damp. The smell, the heavy moist air, you noticed it straight away. In some places, the wallpaper had already started peeling off the wall on its own. The door frames and some of the walls were just covered in mould. The carpets looked fine at first glance, but they were thick, plush, and sodden. What's strange is that, visually, quite a lot of things actually looked okay. The fireplace and wooden units in the living room seemed alright. My sister suggested I keep them. She thought they were pretty stylish. The kitchen also looked fairly solid. Decent units, not too much obvious damage at first glance. The floor had been ripped up in places, but overall it didn't immediately scream disaster. The bedroom was pretty run down and very dated, but it didn't seem too mouldy or rotting. I didn't expect what I found when I did start to dismantle the units. The conservatory was the one space I knew needed major work. A conservatory doesn't behave like a proper room. With all that glass and the polycarbonate roof, it's always too hot in the summer and too cold in the winter. Even before I got the keys, I knew this space would be getting completely redone, eventually. Then there was the attic. Pretty tight up here. I smashed my head on the light the very first time I was up. The ceiling is only about 1.7 meters from floor to ceiling, so technically these rooms aren't actually classed as bedrooms. With that said, when I first viewed the house, the attic felt like one of the biggest opportunities within the whole place. We'll get into plans in a later video, including what to do when trying to find an architect. Going into week 1, I genuinely thought that this would be quite a fairly straightforward project. A light strip out, make a few changes, get things cleaned up, move in, and then plan for the bigger renovations over time. I honestly believed I could be living here within 6 weeks. Looking back now, I was completely off my head. The first job was getting the carpets and underlays out. That alone made a huge difference to how the house felt and even how it smelled. Suddenly the house felt airy and bright, which was great in September. From there, it was on to stripping wallpaper, mostly just to get the mould out. I didn't get a key for the garage, so my dad showed up, managed to get us cracked in. This became a little bit of a dumping ground while we stripped the house and organised going to the recycling centre. At this point, I still wasn't expecting to take the walls back to bare stone, but the more I stripped, the more I learned, and the more obvious it became that this house had serious, long-term issues. I was reading, watching, and researching non-stop. I was starting to understand just how much work was ahead of me. To start trying to deal with the damp issues, I started clearing vegetation from around the external walls so moisture could drain away properly. It was hard graft, but the difference was definitely worth it. The mulch was over an inch thick. This just would have been leaching water straight into the stones and then through into the crawl space. Plus the extra light that was able to flow into the back bedroom was lovely. What I didn't understand yet was that a different approach is needed for a solid stone building compared to a modern cavity wall house. That realization came later. One of the first real decisions that changed everything was the kitchen. Once I started pulling things apart, it became obvious the kitchen couldn't stay as it was. I decided that the kitchen should be completely gutted back to the brick and redone. Units under the window were already rotting, and above the ceiling there was an old cold water header tank that fed the house. The tank was very rusty and not necessary anymore, since the water pressure is far better than when this system was installed. I knew I had to get this taken out. As I was planning to do this, I was thinking about the services and the structure as a whole. I knew I would need to take the gas central heating system out. The boiler was about 35 years old, and there was only an LPG tank in the garden. The gas boiler also had its own gravity-fed header tank in the ceiling. There's no mains gas line, so this helped to push the decision to go all electric. This was the only heating system in the house, and I knew I was a long way from getting a new one installed. I knew I would need to get something to provide some heat. I wasn't just thinking about the heating, but also about the atmosphere and the general feel of the property. It was at this point that the idea of a wood-burning stove started to creep in. things were moving quite fast in the first week, maybe a tad too fast. So while stripping around the boiler, I found some material that looked suspiciously like asbestos. Things in the kitchen slowed down after that. A lot of people around me were confident that it would probably be fine and suggested just cracking on. I decided to step back from taking the kitchen apart and research what to do. Lab testing is the only way to be 100% certain. I considered having just this area tested or potentially going for a full asbestos test throughout the common areas of the house. I decided to switch to the living room while I pondered the decision and checked prices for local asbestos testing. It was time to start stripping out the fireplace for a wood burning stove. It had been built up and filled in again and again over the years. I knew the original opening would be somewhere in here, and it would be much larger than what I could see. I hadn't realised just how much it had been built over and filled. The amount of rubble and infill was crazy. I also decided to take the wooden units in the living room out. As I was ripping these out and smashing them apart, the lath and plaster on the stone walls also started to come off. I decided just to take the whole wall back to stone. I noticed that some of the decorative tiles on the ceiling also raised asbestos concerns. It was at this point where I decided to stop guessing, get a specialist involved, and just go for the full renovation and demolition asbestos testing. So that first week changed my life. It's hard to explain properly, but just being here, working on this place, it fed something in me I didn't realize I was pining for. It gave me purpose in a way I hadn't felt in a very long time. I can't and don't want to stop learning, working, and moving forward. By the end of week one, it was clear that this wasn't a surface level renovation. This had started turning into a back to bone rebuild. Once I'd seen what was underneath, there was no going back. My mindset had completely shifted from what do I need to do to move in to what did this building need to be healthy, safe, and capable of standing for another 140 years. The house had been a safe haven for a long time. It had been a home for well over 100 years. Now it was empty and cold. Seeing it slowly falling apart was genuinely sad, but fixing it properly felt like the only respectful option. Over the next few videos, I'll be going into specific jobs in more detail. I'll also be carrying on through week 2, which is where things escalate quite quickly following the asbestos testing. Some big strip outs, and the decisions that really changed the whole scope of the project. If you're interested in following along, feel free to subscribe, and if you missed the first video, it's up on the channel. Cheers!